Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. And I'm a little late today. I'm sure you can see I got a lot of sun today and yesterday. I went to Block Island, which those of you guys that don't know, Block Island is a local island off of Rhode Island. It's just beautiful but there's no shade. And so I have lots of sunburn. And today I was wearing a little bit of a thing around my head to try to calm my skin down. But you know how that is. Nothing's perfect. So I wanted to welcome you guys to today's topic. Hopefully, we can talk a little bit about how your business is not your personal piggy bank. Bum, bum, bum. I know. A little personal, I think. It's a little cheeky. So I wanted to expand upon a great blog post I had. And I'd like to begin by reading the blog post. And if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and type them in, okay? So I'm going to read that out and you let me know. So if you see me looking down, I'm just going to be reading it right off my website. If you guys need the website, my website is savvygroomer.com/blog. Alrighty. So this is not your piggy bank. Now, let's be honest. We've all done it. We're all guilty of it. The company car in hand, you're at the gas station, out to dinner, or the store. Is this really a business expense? Probably not, but we tell ourselves this is part of being a business owner, the business paying for things. It starts with a tank of gas, then it's towels that you're actually for the house, but you can always give the old ones to your shop, right? This is a laptop for work. You start embezzling from your own company without even realizing it. Sometimes it's just an occasional thing. Sometimes it becomes a part of life. You've turned your business into a personal piggy bank, which does not allow it to function as needed. Now, is this because you're a bad person? Obviously not. Is it because you're lazy or dumb? Of course not. It's just so easy because there isn't someone to tell you no or to stop it. If you were a manager of your shop, Inc., would you handle your business finances the way you currently do? Let's be honest, probably not. You probably would need to show your boss your projected monthly income, the expenses. You'd know how much money the shop needed to make every day so you could plan on how you do it. Or you'd be fired, right? Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pop these into 2 sections. Boom, boom, boom. Make that nice and big so it's easier for me to read. This is the tough part about live because there's no stopping. So let's talk about generally the 2 reasons that you're doing this behavior, where you're kind of embezzling in your own business. There's really the 2 reasons tend to be you're burnt out or your personal finances are not under control. For groomers that are burnt out, I really suggest reading. I have a burnout series in my blog. If you guys want, I can post that below and I can talk a little bit more about that. It's more so meant for those who feel they are burnt out physically, financially, or they're feeling trapped. Personally, I've been all 3 of those. So I totally understand exactly how you feel. There's nothing worse than doing what you love and starting to feel like the fire is slowly burning out. Especially in grooming, if you guys are pet sitters or you are dog trainers, I know there are plenty of instances where you just feel like you just get compassion failure. You start getting fatigued by how hard you're trying and you're trying to make everything better. I want you to go ahead and admit your personal finances are a little out of control, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're broke, okay? It means that you have no idea where any of that money is going. A budget doesn't restrict your spending. It just gives you permission to spend your money, both personal and business-wise. I talk a lot about the importance of budgeting. I actually have a great blog post called Appointment Book for Your Finances last week in our live. We were talking about the appointment book for our finances. Please go ahead and check that out as well. The truth is that you need a budget. You need to know how much is going and where it's actually going. If you're struggling with this, I strongly suggest you come on to our I'm so sorry, reading this online, it's tough to like read it on a live. I'm gonna get better at this, I promise. So you have to be a little patient with me. I generally suggest if you want to learn about personal finance, the in your pet sitter, pet groomer, in the pet industry, Personal Finance Unleashed is an amazing online course. It is geared mostly to pet groomers. However, it really speaks to anyone who is service based and is commission based. We do touch on topics of if you're hourly, if you're a business owner, there's lots of ways to do that. I walk you guys through the 9 steps to financial success, which are mine, how to create wealth and long-term freedom. So let's talk a little bit about these 2 really specific reasons of, being burnt out or you don't have your finances under control. So first one's really simple. Let's say you're burnt out. Well, why are you burnt out? A lot of times we become burnt out because we are working too many hours. A lot of times people say, oh, I only groomed 40 hours. Great. But if you are a small business owner, how many hours are you picking up the phone, making a marketing schedule, going out and marketing? How much time are you spending dreaming about what you're going to be doing and actually making that a reality? How many hours are you actually working on your business? And what I have found in my own personal research is that most people in the pet industry are easily working 60 to 80 hours a week. They're doing 40 hours of their service and an extra 20 to 40 hours, depending upon if they have employees or not, of extra tasks, cleaning, doing laundry, not just grooming pets, but returning phone calls, inputting new clients, researching new products, things like, new shampoos, going to trade shows, continuing education. All those should ideally be put into your 40-hour work week, just like you would if you were a manager for a different store. Now, you might be saying, oh, well, if I was a manager, I would be working potentially more hours. Yes, but there would be a cap. And for the most part, you would be paid for those extra hours, or you would have a really regular salary. And most of us don't have a really regular salary for ourselves if we're a business owner, because we'll put the business needs first. If you're being burnt out, that's almost always why. You might not be charging enough. A lot of times I tell people if you have a particular dog breed that you don't like to groom, mine were Cocker Spaniels. I just did not like grooming them at all. If everybody's different, it might be Old English Sheepdogs, Doodles, Scotties, whatever breed of dog, German Shepherds, whatever breed of dog you don't like to groom, go ahead and give them your happy price. If you are the business owner, your pricing can reflect that. So a perfect example is, let's say if you don't like grooming Old English Sheepdogs, even though they might be similar in coat in theory to a Doodle, you can just charge more. Why can't you say, okay, we start our Old English Sheepdogs at $150. We don't touch them for any less than that. And you're like, you know what? I'd really rather not do an Old English Sheepdog, but for $150, I'd be pretty happy. That's the pricing that you may have to go to if you're burnt out. If you get a lot of Doodles and you're wondering why, well, what happens if you increase that price 20 or 30%? What is the price you'd like? Okay, I will totally do this dog. What price is that? Same thing with cats. If you are not trained in cats, please don't do cats. If you are interested in learning to groom cats, check out the National Cat Groomer Institute of America. That's a great place to start. But what's your happy price to groom a cat? Mine is I won't touch a cat for less than $100. That's all I do now. It's $100 to $165 an hour. And that's what I do. To me, for my safety and my longevity, those are my prices. So that being said, when you're burnt out, what are things that you can do? We talk about if you're physically burnt out, you might have to start thinking about doing less large dogs. If you were doing a lot of large dogs and your back hurts, you may have to move into smaller dogs or get a new setup where you have a ramp, something that's going to alleviate that. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just hire someone to do the big dogs. Unless if you are going to have a business plan set up with multiple employees, you don't want to be in that position where one person calls out. And now do you call those people with big dogs and reschedule them? Or if they quit, what are you going to do then? I see that happening more so with cats than I see that with large dogs. But don't put yourself in that position. whatever you don't want to do as a business owner, unless if you're going to actually build a team. And those are two very different things. Groomers for in their businesses tend to be solopreneurs, which is one service person, one groomer, owner, entrepreneur, that one same person, or they build kind of a team where it's like them and like kind of a bather, but then the bather calls out. They have a groomer, but they're unreliable, under 5 employees. And then after 5 employees, you really start building a team and you really start getting in all of the ways you're going to design your team. And pretty much that is creating systems in place and making sure that, if someone quits, it doesn't matter. You can just replace them very easily. So with that, I want, being physically burnt out, you could be financially burnt out. And we'll talk about that in a second about, your personal finances not being under control. And sometimes when we're burnt out in our business, it's because we feel really trapped. And a lot of that comes down to, does your business reflect your personal life goals? So someone like me, I really crave freedom in my life. And that sounds really weird. Like craving freedom, everyone craves freedom. I like freedom and flexibility. So when I owned a business, I owned a salon that had 5 different people in it, it made it a little more difficult because in theory, you'd think building a team will give you more freedom and flexibility. It will. However, you have to be very instrumental when you build that team to make it in a way that you're going to be okay if everything cancels. That's it. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of stories of entire staff walking out the door. A lot of people don't create a team in the sense. So a perfect example is, does everyone groom the same way? Does everyone, if you say, okay, I want a teddy bear cut and a Yorkie, which is a term that doesn't really mean anything, does everyone know what that means? Is everyone on the same page? If I have Sarah and Jessica and Caitlin all groom a dog, does it all come out the same? Or are their styles incompatible? So that's a little bit different of a topic. And if you guys would like to talk about that, feel free to post below or ask Savvy Groomer, and we will definitely go over that. But that's when you're building a team versus being a solopreneur. Most of us are solopreneurs, or we have a very small team, and it's really not a team. We just have a few staff members, honestly. But being trapped is, did you pick a business style that fits your need? I'm a lot happier mobile. Some people are. I like going out and having a little adventure every day. That's how I feel. Like I get in my truck and I go around the state and I just have little mini adventures. And, if I get done early, then I can go do the park or I can go to the beach, whatever I want to do. That's how I feel. Versus being at the shop, I felt very trapped. I felt very stuck. Versus some people prefer to be in a salon because it allows them to know they care more about certainty, reliability, and for them, being in a salon makes them feel like they're at home and they're relaxed and they know where they're going to be. And when they're done, they're done. And it's all about what you love and making sure that your personal goal, wants, needs aligns with what your life path is. If you want to live near the beach, then owning a salon in the middle of the city is not probably going to be exactly what you want. And eventually you're going to grow to resent that business, especially if you're not working towards a way that you can either sell that or eventually get rid of that in order to live your dream. So let's go to number 2. Number 2 is not having your personal finances under control. This is far more common in pet grooming than people realize, I should say. The truth is, in the pet industry, there are 2 kinds of people. The kinds of people that the second the bills come, the check comes, the money's gone. So, and this is they just cannot catch up. So they get the bills in, they get their check in, and the money's already gone. They just cannot make enough money to pay all of their bills. And then the other kind of person, and I mean these in very general terms, I call Sally Survive as the person that lives paycheck to paycheck and they just can't seem to catch up. They're exhausted, they're burnt out. There's just nothing they can do. And then there is a character that I call Samantha Spender. And this character really has the best of intentions. But the second they get their paycheck, the second they get more money, they're just looking for a little bit of, I don't want to say comfort. That's the wrong word. They're looking to feel better. They want to, after having like a long week of grooming, they just want to get something nice, whether that's, splurging a little bit on going out to eat, maybe getting a foot rub, a massage, getting something done that's going to make them happy, versus, putting that money into their budget or go ahead and putting it into savings or retirement. They're going to be like, I worked really hard and I deserve. Sally survives. Trick word is, there'll always be more dogs, or, essentially she's just like can't keep up. Where Samantha Spender is, I deserve. That's like the trap that Samantha Spender really gets into, where she's constantly feeling like Samantha Spender really believes that she works really hard, so she does these things. However, when you think about it, those are the times when you overspend. When you feel entitled to have a good time, that's when you overspend and you make bad choices. So with this piggy bank situation, a lot of times people will have a business model that's not actually that profitable, especially not if they paid someone for all of the hours they worked for the hours they wanted. I can't count how many times I've talked to clients business coach clients that have a business where they're grooming 40 hours a week and they're being paid for that. But then they're also working 20 to 40 hours doing admin stuff. And maybe their husband comes in and he's their carpenter and he does all the maintenance. And he also, fixes everything. Maybe he's the towel person. Maybe he's their Saturday bather. And had they actually been paying someone, their business might have actually been in the red. So a lot of times you're not paying employees, or because you're not treating them as employees, or you're not treating yourself as if you're an employee. And working 68 hours is not an option. It's not a long-term thing. And if you have someone who wants to come help you, that's great. But even if they won't take that paycheck, set it in the budget as if you had that person to pay. Because that's what's eventually going to happen. People don't work for free forever. It just doesn't work, or they become resentful. You can think that somebody loves to work for you for free, but that's not true. That's just what you're telling yourself. And eventually they will get resentful. That's just the truth. We love to do good things, but it could take a year, it could take 10 years, but eventually someone will be like, you know what? I'm not going to do this, or they're not going to put 100% of their effort in, which is just as bad. There's nothing worse than having somebody who says they're going to do something for you and help you out. And then because they're doing it for free, they just half-ass it. It's awful. So make sure you're actually profitable. Make sure you're not using your personal money to put money into the business either. That's an opposite piggy bank, where your business isn't making a profit, so you just keep putting money in, or you don't take a check, or you don't take a check as if you were an employee. Your business is making money as you as a 40-hour groomer, but if you were paying, even a minimum wage employee to do the admin work, you wouldn't actually be making any money. Or your business is making money and paying you, but it's not actually making enough money to save money, set aside for an emergency fund. It's not actually saving any money for a rainy day fund, in the sense that if you want to upgrade anything, I already said emergency fund, it's not putting any money into your retirement. You essentially own your job. So there's a lot there. I think there's a lot to unpack, but I think this is a great start. So when you're thinking about your business, make sure you're not embezzling on yourself. Make sure you're not putting money into your business that doesn't belong there, as well as taking money out. And a lot of us have done this. It's a really bad habit. You just feel entitled to the money in your business. But if your business was paying you enough money as an employee, and I understand, what doesn't matter if you're a DBA, an LLC, an S Corp, I say paying yourself as an employee. If you had a salary as a groomer and then a salary for your admin work / entrepreneurial work, and it was enough money to live on, you wouldn't use that debit card at the pump. It's not appropriate. And a lot of times it can get you a lot of tax problems. So I want to thank you all for being here. It's been amazing. I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free again to check out my blog at savvygroomer.com. I'm looking forward to speaking to you all next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, it's been great speaking with you guys. Happy grooming.